Every human being is worth listening to a story.
Who you are here in high school, but it's not who you are, right? You'll find yourself there.
Failure's okay, and everybody does that, and nobody actually really cares if you fail as long as you kind of keep going.
How you respond to adversity marks your character is what I like to say, and in college you're given plenty of opportunity to respond.
I could have done it without college, there's no way.
Not everybody knows that they can do it if they just do a little bit more.
I've certainly never known anybody that has come back and said, I wish I would have messed around more. I wish I would have goofed off more.
Just because something horrible happens or something that seems like, oh, that's what I wanted to do and I can't do it, that doesn't mean you can't. It means you have to take that experience and make positive out of it. All right, I'm Dr. Harrison Neal. I teach chemistry and physics.
So what motivated you to become an educator?
Well, I worked in chemistry for a long time. As I was doing chemistry, I noticed that research was just really intensive and really hard to do. And then once you get to like the final goal, there's not a whole lot of hooray. It's like next day is right back in doing the same stuff you've been doing for months. Whereas teaching and learning, I'm learning as I go also, because I get so much from students. Every day somebody learns something new, some light bulb goes off, and it's like, I get that hooray every single day. My college experience is really weird. It's not the normal experience. I was a chemistry major in my undergraduate, and then I went on to graduate school in inorganic chemistry, working with uranium. I had basically 9 total years of college, and then when I came here, I had to go back to get my teaching license. So I've had way more college than anybody should ever have. But it's all positive because it was all such great experiences, and each experience was different. And that was, I think, the most important part, is that what you would expect, every spot I went was totally different.
How did college shape your career path?
I would say without college, I wouldn't be where I'm at, but not just my career. I wouldn't be doing what I can do now if I didn't get my education, but I also wouldn't have experienced the vast amount of people and the different cultures and the different ideas, and be as, connected with others without college. I also wouldn't have had as many experiences. So the first chemistry class I took in college, I failed. I got an F, I had to withdraw. And that was my major. And I was really upset. It was all my fault. I blame it on me because I was experiencing college and I should have been paying more attention. So much so that I had to take it in the summer. And I memorized everything. I knew everything I had to do. Because of that, I was the youngest TA that they were able to get as a sophomore in undergrad. Just because something horrible happens or something that seems like, oh, that's what I wanted to do and I can't do it, that doesn't mean you can't. It means you have to take that experience and make positive out of it.
What extracurricular activities or clubs were you involved in during college?
So I was a band kid all through high school, and I was really into marching band and playing the trombone, and I taught myself the tuba and the euphonium. And in college, the college I went to was an engineering school, so there was no outside fun things. You didn't have language arts classes that were fun and interesting. You didn't have history. I don't think they had a history department. But band was like my outreach. And so we would just go and have fun. We'd go and play everywhere. And where I went, we were mining, like a mining college at Colorado School of Mines. And so we would wear button-up shirts and look like miners, and we had mining hats. And we'd go around and just play everywhere. From that, it helped me get through college.
How did your college professors impact your learning journey?
All my college professors had some type of impact. Some of them very negative, where either I had no idea what they were talking about because I either couldn't understand them, or they just couldn't quite lower their understanding to a level that anybody could get, or they didn't really have any leeway of, hey, if you don't do this, you will fail, kind of a thing. But I also had amazing professors that changed how I wanted to be an educator, because they saw enjoyment and excitement, and it made everything more enjoyable. It made learning science actually fun and not like a chore. But the best professor I had was just insane. He would do the craziest experiments. They like forced him to use blast shields because he would fire things across the room. He blew up stuff all the time, but just that fun and enjoyment. And he was, I want to say, in his late 50s, and he still was like a kid in the candy store, just playing with everything. And so that was a lot of fun. And I got to work with him as his TA because he was just nuts. He was really cool.
That would be fun. Okay, what skills or knowledge gained in college have been most valuable in your teaching career?
The most I've gotten out of college was in my PhD of how to actually interact with people. A lot of professors in colleges, they don't have very good social skills. They don't have a lot of interaction with others that aren't at their academic level. And so as a PhD student, you have to interact with all these professors that are like a brick wall. They don't want to talk to you. They don't want you wasting their time. And so trying to build a relationship with a rock is really hard to do, but if you have to do it a lot, then you can get a lot out of anybody. It also helped me because I got to experience a lot of different cultures. So I met people and worked with them from Spain and from France. I had a student working with me from Belgium, Hungary, Iran. And it changed my thought of outside of the U.S. It gave me a lot of, insight into how other cultures view things. And especially one of my best friends at OSU was from France. Clément is how he pronounced his name. And just his insight of like what coffee is. Hey, let's go get coffee. And his order of coffee is not what I expected. It was sludge, just awful. And he drank it like it was water. Cheese, just couldn't. There were so many different cultural differences between me and him, but we were buddies. And just learning about other people and getting experience like that was invaluable to me.
If you could go back to college, what would you do differently?
If I could go back to my undergraduate, I would focus a little bit more on the classes that I thought were not as important. In hindsight, it's more of an experience and something that I think that all students should experience in some way, right? And I'm not saying go to OSU and spend a bunch of money, but just LBCC or anywhere, any higher education, just getting that experience of working in an environment that's what people do, right? You go to school here, you experience, history, but you're around your peers and you're not around someone that's what their job is and that's what they've done forever, right? Whereas these people dedicate their lives to that knowledge and that understanding, and just experiencing the environment of college is huge. Just because of the opportunities that are available, you should absolutely attempt it. Even if you don't feel like you're that kind of a student, with the opportunities that LBCC gives and the opportunities for some of our students at OSU, just experiencing it and figuring out what you want to do is huge. You don't normally go to college and know exactly what you want to do, right? But it gives you so much experience in all the different facets of the things you think you understand in high school that you can really find what drives you in college. I didn't know what I wanted to do out of high school. I thought I wanted to, but until I got to college and actually experienced what all these things are, then I knew what I wanted to be, right? Everyone around you is experiencing the same exact change as you. Who you are here in high school, but it's not who you are, right? You'll find yourself there. Go out, grow as a person in higher education.
Share a memorable moment from your college days.
My undergraduate, most memorable moment I have is I was taking organic chemistry, and I thought it was going to be impossible because it's always talked up as like the hardest thing anybody's ever done. And I went in, and the professor, he looked like a really mean old man, just really grouchy, but he was the nicest and coolest guy. He was with me from then on throughout my college undergraduate career, and he was so cool that I could go in and chat with him, and he would just sit with me and talk to me for hours. But my favorite part about him, he let off such like a grumpy old persona that during the first test, he handed out all the tests in this big lecture hall, and everybody's starting to take it. He walks up to the back of the room and he yells, "Eyes on your own paper!" And everybody freezes, and as he's walking down, I can hear him, and he's giggling to himself because he just scared hundreds of kids, and he just thought it was the funniest thing ever. The other one, as a graduate student, my most memorable moment was I worked with uranium, so I had a lot of people that were really afraid of uranium, but I got a lot of international students and a lot of students from outside of the U.S. to work with. And the coolest thing is I took a group of students up to the nuclear reactor in Washington, and we toured the reactor. I had no idea about uranium at all before, and I was like, that'd be kind of cool to do. So I had the opportunity, I jumped at it, and then the next 5 years, that's what I did, and I was able to take students up to a place that you'd never go, you'd never be able to go, they'd never experience, and they'd never see again. And we go in, and you could see all the reactor core, and you could see armed guards everywhere for that. You could go into one of those big towers of cooling towers that you see in nuclear things all the time. And it was cool because it took the fear away, and they got to experience something that nobody ever gets to go see, right? Nobody gets to go and see those things. I never get to see those things. I went once, and it was the coolest thing ever. And it's an unbelievable experience that you'd never be able to do outside of taking an opportunity that it's just like, hey, do you want to do this for a little bit? I didn't know I was going to dedicate a lot of my time to do it, but it's like that experience was amazing.